Hello, my name is Gordon Ramsay, and welcome to the Silver Speedrun tutorial in Sonic Project 06. Now, the goal of this tutorial is straightforward. I want to provide you with a fast route through every single main stage in this run, and I want to explain that route. I also want to cover some general movement things that you may not have picked up on. Silver has a lot of mechanics under the hood that are very easy to miss. So, the goal of this guide, whether you are completely new to speedruns, you have never done one before, or if you've dipped your toes in the water and you're thinking, okay, I want to go a bit further with this guide should provide something of use. Now, I have segmented this video into chapters, and I have included timestamps to said chapters in the description of this video, so if there is a specific section that you want to see, just go ahead, jump to it. I would recommend watching the movement tutorial chapter though, because once again, this has some mechanics that you probably missed, and it would be helpful to get a refresher on. Also, this tutorial will assume that you have all three of Silver's upgrades. Those are the Lotus of Resilience, the Flame of Control, and the Sigil of Awakening. If you do not have them, I won't be showing where they are, but I will be showing what they do, because I kind of have to for the speedrun. We use all of them. It's any percent. What can I say? So, if you don't have those, and you don't want to be completely spoiled on them, again, aside from the location, turn away now, pick them up, then come back to this. Or if you just want to find them immediately, there are plenty of videos online. Alright, one last thing. Project 06, for all it's good, is not the most optimized game in the world, so if you play this game for extended sessions, we found that you can run into some frame rate issues, particularly when there are a lot of particles on screen. To mitigate those, I'd highly recommend turning down your graphics options. Now, I've heard having VSync off can help. The main thing is turn off glowing outlines, turn off volumetric lights, and turn off reflections. If you can stand it, turn them off. The way P-06 does reflections isn't the most performant thing in the world, so having them off will help immensely. Interestingly, having draw distance to high can actually improve performance. I'm not sure if it's the case on this release. It was on old ones, but I'd keep that on very high anyways, just to be sure. I have texture quality on very high for this video. Usually I play with it on medium, but the rest of that's pretty much up to you. The main thing, no glowing outlines, no volumetric lights, and ideally no reflections. Maybe you can get away with low, but having them off is going to be the best. Game settings wise, you will want to have in-game cutscenes set to off, because those take up a lot of time, and ideally, disable camera volumes will be set to on. If you don't know what a camera volume is, it's basically any time that you lose control of the camera. Like if you hit some springs and Silver's bouncing from spring to spring to spring, and it's a very cool automated section, and the camera's tracking him as he moves through it, that camera won't happen. You'll keep your regular camera, you can rotate it however you want, and as you can imagine, that is very useful for a speedrun. As far as extra goes, just have your attack reticles on, have your homing reticle on. Camera type is up to personal preference. I recommend the retail camera, just because that gives you the highest field of vision, it lets you see the most things, and with Silver, that can be pretty useful. The E3 camera isn't too bad, the TGS camera is pretty awful. It's like an intense close-up on the character. As it says here, short distance, low height, slow speed. E3 is only a slight step down from retail. Largely it's personal preference though. Alright, with all that said, let's boot into the test stage so that I can show off some of these techs. Okay, first things first, we need to talk about lifting. Now on the surface, lifting looks pretty straightforward. You just raise up the object and then, you drop it, you can jump off of it, whatever. There are actually two additional things you can do while you're lifting an object. First off, you can press the X button to dunk it. If there are nearby enemies, it will home in on them and kill them. But more interestingly, if you dunk an object and then press the A button, you'll actually go straight into a teleport dash. Now this is pretty useful in the run. It doesn't come up a ton, but it's worth keeping in mind. It's a good movement option. The second thing is, if you jump off of an object shortly after releasing it, you get significantly more height. Let me just bring this box over here as an example. So, stationary box, I jump, I can't make that. I lift it, I do my jump, I get way more height. See, I'm barely lifting it off the ground, and I'm already getting enough height to clear this. This is very, very useful. If you press the A button after this, you'll go into a hover. But if you're fast enough with the A input, you can go into a teleport dash and get some increased height. Pretty straightforward, very easy to learn, just keep those two things in mind. It's also worth mentioning that whenever you are falling as Silver, it is very slightly faster to spam Stun Slap, or to use Psycho Shock, this AoE attack. Psycho Shock is usually a worse option because you're stuck in this animation afterwards, but spamming Stun Slap is a very, very easy way to just accelerate your fall speed a little bit. It's not big enough that you have to do it in a speedrun, but, you know, if you want to keep your hands busy, go for it. It's very easy, doesn't lose you any time. In fact, saves you a little bit. It's worth doing. Next thing to talk about is a general game mechanic, the Badnik bounce. So, when Silver has the Lotus of Resilience, he can jump off of enemies, just like Sonic, Shadow, Knuckles, yada yada yada. And this next part is pretty easy to pick up on, but it's worth reiterating. Where you physically jump off of the enemy matters. If I jump off of this guy's foot, well, he's on the ground now, so this is going to be a bit harder, but you know, if I jump off of his foot and I start hovering, I'm not getting enough height to clear that. You see, I'm a little bit shy, but if I jump off of his head, well, he sniped me out of that, but I think you can see where that was going. Jump off of the head, fly over, that is more than enough height to clear it. Just keep that in mind. Where you bounce off of the enemy physically matters quite a bit. The last thing I want to talk about is Silver's S-Rank reward, ESP mode. Activating this is pretty straightforward. You need at least 3 points in that red gauge below the action bar. That red gauge is called the maturity meter, and it can store up to 10 points. Once you have enough points, you can hold up on the D-pad and then press the right trigger to activate it, and that gauge will continuously drain. Now, while ESP mode is active, you cannot extend it. If you started it with 3 points, you keep 3 points. If you started it with 10, you keep that duration. You can't extend it at all. There are going to be times when it's beneficial to activate ESP mode with a low amount of meter. I will point those out when they happen. As for what benefits you get while this is up, well, I'll put them on screen now, but basically, you lose 35% less gauge, so you can teleport dash for way longer, you can hover for way longer, you can lift things for way longer, you get the idea. You will automatically paralyze nearby enemies. A stun slap will instantly kill paralyzed enemies. You can use the grab all ability without going into the animation. Normally, if I do grab all, I'll show it here. Silver's locked in and he has to rotate like this. And finally, these guys don't have projectiles, so it's going to be hard to show. But the last thing that you get is you will automatically reflect any projectiles that come your way. So let's see. Okay, that killed me, but generally that doesn't happen. Generally, they just ping off of you. Yeah, that's ESP mode. Very, very important. Very worth knowing. There are also a couple things that you can do with the Psychic Knife and the Psycho Shot. Ordinarily, if you press the B button, you'll go through this whole animation. It takes, like, what, 25? Maybe 15% of the gauge. Or if you hold it for a bit, you'll get the knife. But if you quickly press the B button again after using one of these, you can quickly go into a second use of it. It's a little bit faster than waiting for it to end. Worth keeping in mind. Also, if you use this in the air, you will stall for a little bit. Just a few things to note. And that's about it. There is movement tech for Blaze, there is movement tech for Amy, but we'll cover that when we get to them. We can slot that in easily when we swap to them. That's it for Silver. Alright, let's get to our first stage. Haha, just kidding, I fooled you all. There's actually one more thing to talk about. Animation canceling. There are two main animations that you want to cancel as Silver. Psycho Shock and activating a green mark, which we'll show in a second because there's just one over there and I need the enemies. For Psycho Shock, here are your options. You can cancel with a stun slap. You can cancel with a jump as soon as you land. Or if there is an enemy nearby, what you can do is grab and then immediately turn. It's worth noting that you cannot do this with grab all. You have to do it with an actual, like, hold RT and then turn towards the enemy. So, sometimes it's going to be better to use grab all versus just regular grabbing, but generally, if you are paralyzing a group of enemies, or even just one, I would recommend holding the right trigger, facing towards them, and get that animation cancel. Canceling green marks works in pretty much the same way, except you cannot use a grab. You can jump or you can stun slap. So normally, if I activate a green mark, very long animation. If I stun slap, it cuts the whole part where Silver kind of raises his hand out. And if I jump, well, as soon as his hand hits the ground, I can get back into the air. This is going to be relevant. I am going to be doing this throughout the run, so just a thing to keep in mind. If you Psycho Shock, turn around. Cut things short. Or you can jump. Just as soon as he hits the ground, you can do your stuff. If you got a green mark, stun slap. Or jump. Messed it up there. Or jump. That's all. Now let's get to the stages for real. Alright, now, in this speedrun, you are free to play all 9 of Silver's stages in whatever order you want. You want to start with Flamecore and go to Radical Train? Go for it! But for this video, I will be doing it in the order shown on the Act Trial screen. So we're just going to go Crisis City, Tropical Jungle, Dusty Desert, and so on and so forth. You get the idea. So, let's kick things off. Now, Crisis City is divided into 3 sections. For this first section, I'm going to start by showing you the general route through, and then I'll restart and show you some optimizations that you can take to get your time a little bit lower. Starting out, just get your rings. We're going to go for a double enemy bounce. Jump off of him. Sometimes you can make it to the bird. If you don't, it's no biggie. Just jump up, fly over to these boxes, and you're good to go. Now, when this enemy died, he broke the bridge. That isn't always going to happen. If it doesn't, no worries. Just jump on this nearby weather tank, and then hover to the end. But if he does break it, you just get a slope jump. It's very, very easy. Activate ESP, and we're just gonna fly right to the end here. Get your enemy bounce, and activate this mark. Once this container comes up, you can run up it a bit, then get a slope jump and get on this billboard. And same thing here. I like rotating the camera here. Doesn't matter as long as you're holding straight towards that breakable wall. Hover forward, get your meter, and you're good to go. As soon as you hit that jump panel, section's over. Now, let me show you the optimizations. As soon as I get the second ring, I'm going for a teleport dash. Now, I messed it up a little here. See how Silver is still above the ground? This isn't great. Here's what you want to do. See the difference? Because I kept my teleport dash a lot closer to when I activated my jump, I canceled into the ground and got the immediate max run speed. This is good because it lets me instantly start regenerating meter. When you are in the air as Silver, you are generally going kind of slow. You can't regen meter. If you have not immediately jumped, then you can't really teleport dash, and hovering isn't great. If you have to leave the ground, if you have to jump, usually it's a good idea to teleport dash. And if you can, it's an even better idea to cancel that into the ground. Alright, let's go for that enemy bounce. This is something I forgot to mention at first. Play around with this a little bit. Watch what happens when I release the A button. Do you see it? Silver keeps his speed. It can be kind of tricky to land on objects if you're not anticipating that. See, if I try to time it, I'm overshooting it. So what you want to do is release your hover preemptively. Just a little bit, just a little bit. The same applies to teleport dash, by the way. Silver will keep his momentum, so release a little earlier than you think. Alright, here we go. Cancel it on the ground. Get your double enemy bounce. Cancel. Another enemy bounce there. Bridge broke. We're good to go. So far, the only optimization has been canceling your teleport dash early. Just go to the second ring, teleport dash, cancel it on the ground. Here's where things are going to get a little more interesting. We're going to do a slope jump. Now, getting off of that thing is actually really annoying. But the idea is that you just hover to it as it's coming up. Release your hover now, let momentum carry you, and that will give you enough meter to make it over to here. Hit the panel, and you're good. Now, a good time for Section 1. When you're starting out, I would recommend aim for like 52 seconds, something around there. Once you start getting good, you can go for sub-50s. Like in that one, that was fairly fast. I got a 46.9, I think. If you're getting around like 47, 48, you're pretty speedy. You're pretty speedy. Section 2 is fairly straightforward. We're going to play as Blaze. As soon as you swap to her, press the X button, then hold hard left. Now hold forward. And that is seriously all there is to it. Jump, double jump, homing attack into there. Here's where things are going to get a little funky. Hold hard left. And as soon as you see Blaze start going up like this, press the X button, and then neutral stick. By neutral sticking here, Blaze is just going to automatically fall through this window, lock onto the spring, and then I can press the X button. Just use the crow attack a little bit there. Ideally, you don't homing attack those guys, but it is what it is. A fast time through here is like low 120s, maybe like 122 or so. I paused for a little bit to show things off, so this is a little slower. But this section is pretty straightforward. I'll play it one more time without the pausing. Go over here, swap to Blaze, X, hold hard left. If you can make your homing attack go straight into these dash panels, it's a good idea too. I played that kind of tight. If you want to play it that tight, I know I said without the pausing, but bear with me. If you want to play it that tight, hold forward as long as you can before neutral sticking. That'll give you a little extra distance. Hold forward through automation. Spamming the B button to do this attack is actually pretty good, because it locks in whatever speed you had, like a spin kick for Sonic or Shadow. And that's about a 120? Yeah, 120. As soon as you swap here, press the X button, hold forward, you'll instantly swap to silver. The movement in here is very straightforward, although there is one cheeky thing you can do. Slope jump. Oh, you don't see the slope? It's right there. Now, if you can't get that slope jump, don't worry about it. Just jump on a rock or something, make it up, you'll be good. Rest of the movement is exactly what it's going to look like. You're going to run up this building, and you are going to teleport dash. And once you get to the top here, you're going to teleport dash to the goal ring. And that's it. That's Crisis City. Pretty easy stage. It is possible to mess it up. I'm not saying it's free, but it's a nice way to start. When you're starting out, shoot for sub 2, and then I would move to try to get around like 150s. And once you're going really fast, you should be able to consistently get 144s to 145s in this stage. Maybe you pull 146 every now and then, maybe you slip up a little bit and get that, but that's fine. Very fast times for Crisis City, 144 in runs. Alright, let's move to Tropical Jungle. Now, Tropical Jungle is a very straightforward stage. You can probably just watch what I do and pick up on it, but still. Tap RT as soon as you land on that. You don't have to charge Dead Eye. And we're going to do the dunk thing there. Very easy, just get up, press X, press A. Cut this corner. And now wait for meter. There's going to be a lot of waiting for meter as Silver in this stage. We're going to do it again here. I like to drop my teleport dash and then do a hover there. Just ensures that I knock that thing out of the way. And hover to the end. Pick him up, drop him, spam A. There we go. That's a general thing you can do coming off of a spring. Spam hover to cut your height short. Now, good times for Tropical Jungle, sub 40. That's really your big goal here. Starting out, I don't know, go for like a 42 maybe. This stage is very straightforward. I think with a little bit of practice, you should be able to start getting around 40 seconds or less pretty consistently. Once you really have it down, you can start pulling like 38s and runs, 39s pretty consistently. If you get a 40, something probably went wrong, but it's Tropical Jungle. Don't beat yourself up over it. It's probably just a couple seconds time loss. Alright, now onto a difficult stage. Dusty Desert. Now, Dusty is infamous. In a speedrun, it's not that bad, but there are a lot of specific things that you need to keep in mind. Grab these guys, drop them, and then run over here, do a Psycho Shock, grab him, throw him, same idea here, grab, throw. Okay, here's where I start explaining. A bunch of billiard balls are about to roll into this room, and we need to knock them into the little pockets. There's a consistent way to do that. You see this mark on the floor? I'm going to stand a little in front, charge a stun slap, hold hard left, and fire once they reach me. From there, I'm just going to pretty much select where I want to send them. And that's about it. This first room, very consistent once you get it down. A good time out of here is sub 30. When you're starting out, I would shoot for... like, if you're getting 40 seconds, that's okay. Once you start getting the strats down, you should easily be getting 30 seconds or less. If you want to get a 19 overall, I'd say around 35 is a good benchmark. Now, once this door starts opening, pop ESP, and teleport dash. Land here, and then quickly teleport dash over here. And we're on to Amy. Amy has a few things to explain, but I'll assume you're familiar with her basic attacks. So we're just going to jump up here, hold the X button to hammer flip, and do the... oh, avoid the camera! Do the same thing over here. With this combat, if you want to be easy with it, just hold the B button, knock out one of those legs, and then do a double jump. The double jump actually does another hit once it starts, so that'll take him out quickly. Run a little wide to get those hammer swings. Jump over here, smack him down. And here's where we get to talk about the interesting Amy tech. This is more of a general thing with Project 06. It applies to Purple Gem, it applies to Amy, it applies to a few other things. But here's what happens if I just hold my double jump. I hold my jump as long as possible, then I go for the double. That's not very much height. That can't even make it up there. Now, if you like that and you want to be a little basic with it, you can just do a hammer flip. But here's something cooler. If you do your double jump before you reach the apex of your main jump, you will get way more height. Now, the exact amount kind of depends on when you do it. If you do it immediately, that's not quite enough. Do it towards the middle, you'll easily make it. So just do your double tap, make it up, hammer this guy. As soon as you start moving forward, do a hammer jump, and you can make it over. Now, if you mess that up for whatever reason, land over here, Bannock bounce, and double jump up. That's it. Amy's like a 30-second section, probably not even that. She's very straightforward. Once you swap to silver, get full meter, and then just pop a teleport dash. You'll make it over. No questions asked. Get to the center of these guys and do your Psycho Shock, and then do the same thing here. Now, there are a few routes to play this next room. I'm going to show you the one that I like, because I think it's pretty darn fast, and not a lot of people do it. Activate ESP, and fly all the way over here. If a small wave comes, you don't have to jump, but if a medium-sized one does, you do. Get some meter, get over here, and you're good. Psycho Shock in the middle of those guys. And Psycho Shock in the middle. And you're good. Now for the difficult part. You only get one shot to do this right. Get close to it quickly, line yourself up with the middle, and just charge and fire. Orient yourself and push it. Kinda try to get ahead of it. Pay attention to the angles. This should naturally make it, but I'm going to throw one last thing over there. And as the ball's going into the hole, you can activate ESP to make it a bit cleaner. I am going to go back, take a death, make sure I hit the checkpoint, and show you some ways to recover the ball puzzle if it goes wrong, though. Because it can. It can go wrong. It's okay, you've started out, you've come over here. You pushed it. Oh, where's it gonna go? Oh, it's ricocheting. That's not good. Pay attention. Know where this ball is. And let's try to get it to the left-hand side. That looks like it's going to fall in. Just stop it with ESP. Line yourself up so that it's not going to ricochet off of a pillar. Fire. Same thing here. There you go. And now it looks like it's about to land. Make sure it lands. There you go. Other ways this can go wrong. You've sent it too much to the left. That's not good. Don't worry about it though. Just walk down, correct it. It's flying into the air. Where is it? It's back here. Just follow it. The billiard is very easy to deal with in Project 06. The most common issue you're going to run into is that it just ends up somewhere over here. If that happens, you can let it roll or you can just slap it. Probably when you slap it, it's going to go into this corner, and if that happens, line yourself up like this and fire. Then quickly get ahead, and you can slow it down. That's it. Just look at the angles. Is it going to go to one of these things? It's going to launch off at an unfavorable angle. Does it fall down here? Probably reset your run because this takes forever to fix. But if you really want, you can. Kind of. You can kill it at least. Or you can kill Silver. If it goes down there, your run's probably dead. There's not a lot you can do to save it. There is one more thing you can do. This strat is called potballing, and I hate it. But it is kind of fast. Nobody does it in runs, but it's worth mentioning. So you see these pots. You see this ball. You see what their powers combined can do? It can move kind of fast. This is not a good strategy. I mean, this is actually a kind of nice setup because I can trap it between the two. But, you know, don't go for potball, please. It's a bad tech. Anyways, that's the ball puzzle. I'll do it one more time. Just straightforward. We spent enough time here, though. Very, very straightforward. Line yourself up. Fire. Teleport dash to get ahead of it. And if you want to play it safe, just slow it down with your ESP. That way you can guarantee it goes where you want it to. It's decent ricochet. I think it's going to go off of that wall, and I was correct. So I can just charge a stun slap. And to make sure it goes in, I will stop it. A good Dusty Desert time is sub 230. Once you really have this stage down, you should be able to very consistently pull out sub 230s right here. When you're starting out, aim for sub 3. Once you start improving, just look to drop it by 10-second increments. If you're getting 236s, that's pretty good. Somewhere around, like, you know, between 230 and 240. That's pretty good. You can do it a little bit faster. Benchmarks out of the first room, shoot for sub 30. Going into this last room, shoot for around 150. If you get a 2-minute time, that's okay. It's not great, but you can still save it with a good ball puzzle. I will run Dusty one more time, but you're probably good to move on to the next stage, just in case you want to see it all in sequence.
Just you wait, Iblis Trigger.
So, load in, teleport dash, drop these guys. That's a little too high, that's okay. No harm, no foul. Usually you can clear those guys by like 9 seconds. Find my crossroads, line up. It gets kind of near. Fire, 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 fire. Got a bit of a clog there, but we can fix that easily. And 29. That's pretty good. Teleport dash. Land up here. Get a slope jump, apparently. Haven't seen that one before, but hey, duly noted. Immediately jump, hammer bounce, and grab some rings. There is a fast thing you can do for the Amy combat here, which is just using your hammer. I think you can even have a faster kill on that cannon there, or Walker, I forget what its internal name is. Yeah, just kind of hammer flipping to kill two guys at once. If you take a hit here, don't worry about it. It's easy to back up. Just don't get lost in the sauce.
There's gotta be a switch around here.
Kill him. Amy's moving forward, so I'm gonna hammer flip. And that's Amy's section. Back to silver. A good time to swap to silver is like 120. Sub 130 is okay. If you're getting around 120, that's pretty good though. You can do grab all here if you want. I usually don't like using that move, but it's an option. Use this route. Okay, this is a small sand wave, so I can just stay grounded. Then I get enough meter. And we're good to go. Being able to improvise if something doesn't go quite right is good. This is a 205, so kind of slow, but that's okay. We can make it up. Line up, fire. Fix the camera with the left trigger. And let's see how this one goes. It's going a little high, but looks good. And there we go. 230. That's just an example of how Dusty Desert can go. Again, if you're getting around 230, that's pretty good. Sub 230, very fast. Alright, well, Dusty Desert can be a little intense. Don't beat yourself up too much if it's proving to be a little bit of a headache. But Acropolis is going to be a nice reprieve. We'll start playing as Blaze. Now, this technically isn't the last time we're going to see Blaze, but it's a good opportunity to introduce her tech. Normally, with Blaze, you can double jump. You can press the B button. Again, this will lock in your speed. You can press X. You can also press Y. And you can do that in the air. And the reason why I mentioned that, you can also manually cancel it by double tapping Y. The reason I mentioned that is because pressing the Y button gives Blaze another double jump. So you can jump, double jump, triple jump, homing attack, double jump. Blaze's movement is very cool. And that can lead to some pretty cool things.
Let's hurry. All right.
Do a double fire claw there. And if you want, you can go over this invisible wall. This is probably getting patched out, so I'm going to show you how to do the combat. Very simple. Once you get to the blue guy, you just press the Y button to start spinning around. Aside from that, you homing attack. This part's kind of weird. There isn't much of a strategy to it. I like hugging the right side, and then if I get airborne, I'll usually press the X button. Not always. Taking dash panels can be fast, but it'll usually launch you into the air, so yeah, it's whatever. Once you get here, jump off. And this is the enemy route that I recommend taking. I'm doing it kind of slow just to show it off. If you didn't catch that, watch it again. Idea is you take the left side. A good section one time, around 45 seconds. You should be able to get that in most runs if you're going fast. Maybe you get like a 46, maybe you're a little lucky, you get a 44, but get around 45 seconds. Alright, now we're back to silver. The movement here, kind of straightforward, but I'll explain it anyways. Once you get max meter, just teleport dash, and you can land right here, then do a jump. And we're gonna go for a lift jump here. Pretty much as soon as you lift it up, you're good to jump. Just release RT. Enemy bounce there, land on these boxes, and then you can teleport dash past this. Now, ordinarily you can go to that wide spring. If you want to be a little fancy, you can try landing up here. It's not necessary though, don't worry about it too much. And then once you get full meter, teleport dash. Once you get past this lighthouse, teleport dash again. And welcome to our champion, The Rock. The trick I'm about to show you is going to look intimidating, so I just want to make it clear this is very easy. Give it a shot before you ride it off. Find this rock, line yourself up like this. You see this little like orb on the side? That guy's your friend. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to lift the rock. And as soon as I drop this rock with the right trigger, I'm going to double tap the A button and then I'm going to jump. and then I'm going to hover. And it is going to let me go all the way up here to the goal ring. Again, it looks scary. This is easy. Lift, double tap, jump, hover, and you'll make it. You can do it on pretty much any rock as long as you have the right lineup. I mean, hey, this looks good. It's a very easy trick. It's a very cool looking trick, and usually that means it's kind of scary, but in this case, no, this is easy. Line up with this rock, and you're good. Now, if you really don't want to do the easy trick that is easy and consistent, I mentioned that you should do it, you can go for this. The reason we don't do that is because these rocks are kind of janky, and it's very easy to not be given a jump when you lift off of them. Of course, I can't get it now while I'm recording. There we go. Like with that one, it just had me hover instead of jumping. That burns a lot of meter. I guess another option you can do is try to get a slope jump here. Kind of tricky, but you know, a little bit slower. Just do the left strats. They're consistent. A good time for Wet Acropolis is anything below 140. If you're getting like 134s, that's good. Getting like 136s, that's okay. But when you're starting out, shoot for sub 150. Wet Acropolis is an easy stage to lose a lot of time in. Don't beat yourself up if it happens. But once you start getting really good at the stage, you should start seeing sub 140s. When you're starting out, I'd shoot for around 140 though. 140, 150. Okay, on to Radical Train. This stage is kind of nice. It is one section, and it is less than 50 seconds. Get meter, teleport over here. Get meter, teleport over here. You can teleport dash here, but if you want to play it safe, just hover. Activate ESP. Fly over here. Break this down, and now we're going to go for a double enemy bounce. Ideally, you transition it perfectly into the second enemy, but as long as you jump off of the flying guy, you're good. Rail trick twice, then jump. Just run over this. Teleport dash on over. And grind. That's pretty much the rest of the stage. Now, once this starts going down, just jump off and hover. You can cut that a little bit tighter if you want. Then teleport dash to the end. And yeah, there you go. I'm not actually the best at Radical Train. I think the current record for this stage is like 41 seconds, but they do some strats that are not at all safe for speedruns. It does a very, very tricky jump at the very beginning to go straight to the conveyor belt. But yeah, once you're going fast, you should be able to pull like 47s, 48s pretty consistently. Starting out, shoot for like 52, maybe 55. Radical Train is a lot like Tropical Jungle. If you have a bad Radical Train, it's probably still not going to be more than a few seconds. And just like Tropical Jungle, it leads into a pretty tricky stage. Let's go to Aquatic Base. Aquatic Base can be pretty tough, so bear with me. Immediately start running forward, and then you gotta be kind of quick. I was a little slow here, some guys escaped. This is actually pretty easy though. Just get your rings, jump, Psycho Shock, pick them up, drop them. Wait until you have pretty much full meter here to swap to Shadow. And then activate Chaos Boost. Now this is not a Shadow tutorial, but just to give you a rundown, Shadow got a lot of buffs, and this room is very easy to clear now. What we are going to do, watch my inputs on the input display, but we are going to tap the A button, and very occasionally, and more often than not, we are going to hold the A button. Right here, I am going to hold the A button. Now I'm going to tap and hold the A button. Hold, tap, hold, tap, and then hold. There you go. If you do that fast, you can hit the spring at like 19 seconds and get a swap around like 22, 23. But that's the idea. Very easy. Do a full jump here. Fully expend your ESP meter, and then grab and drop the worm. It's important that you fully expend it so that you do not pick up any additional boxes. You'll still be able to grab the worm, but you won't get any boxes here. Get the mark, cancel it. teleport dash to this guy. Now rotate the camera, step forward, and just try to line up a shot. I've found that the most consistent way is by rotating the camera after shocking him. But this switch can actually be a pain to hit. I believe in the next patch you'll be able to get it with a Psychic Knife, which will make this infinitely easier, but for now, you've got to rely on the snipe. Anyways, once that's hit, get through here and activate ESP. One thing to note, it is important that you have exactly this much meter, because the next section relies on having exactly that much meter. If you have less than that, it's okay, it's not great, combat's going to be a little slower. If you have more than that, you're probably going to have to slow down. So try to have exactly 4 cores. You can get that by killing the 2 worms, where I only killed 1, or you can get it by killing 1 worm and killing the golem. I recommend killing the worm and golem for obvious reasons. Teleport dash here, make it to the end. Get a little more meter, fly into this guy to paralyze, fly then stun slap to insta-kill, pick him up, and throw him. And then you're good. The main idea is that you just get as much meter as possible. Then jump off the wall, fly over here, and activate ESP again. Land here. And there's one more pillar that we're going to land on. I like to stop and hover. Just makes it a little more consistent, I've found. And then lift, drop, and hover on through. You might see where this is going. A good section 1 time is around 130. Ideally less than, but you know. You can actually ignore all those enemies, you only have to kill these guys. After Psycho Shock, this is important, use Grab All. Now, for most of my combat, I've been spinning around after Psycho Shock to pick the enemies up. The reason for that is, well, 1, it's fast. I believe it lets you get the animation cancel on Psycho Shock. But, you know, it's fast and it lets me still move. If you try to do that here, you are going to run out of meter. Using Grab All means you get exactly the guys that you need. Then just drop them. Charge a knife here, jump, and fire it. The reason for this, we need a little more meter than we currently have. By firing the knife, we're going to kill at least one of those birds. And then you can just kind of teleport dash into there. There's wind. It's very safe. Don't worry about it. I'll go quickly. And follow my movement. Pass close to that thing to immediately activate it. Stop on this top platform. You need to get as much meter as you can here. As much action gauge, I should say. Same idea here. And now, as you can see, we have enough action gauge to just get near that, both activate, and that clears the room. A little more silver combat here. We're going to use the Psychic Knife again, so start charging it now. Fire it to the left, fire it to the right, and that should kill both of those guys. Then that will give you enough meter to pop ESP. And bada bing, bada boom, that's Aquatic Base. Now, a good Aquatic Base is below 2 minutes 30 seconds. The sub 230. That is not realistic starting out.
Perfect.
Aim for like, I don't know, maybe a 250. Maybe sub 3. Just see what time you have. Again, try to drop it by 10-second increments. If you start getting 240s, you're on the right track. If you start getting 230s, you're very close. From there, it's just going to be a little more optimization. Maybe you're losing time sniping that switch. I don't know. But with enough practice, you'll get there. You'll get your 222s. You'll get below that. You may be watching this video far in the future when the world record is below 2 minutes or something. I don't know what the future of this game holds. Yeah, that's Aquatic Base. Takes a little bit of practice. It is one of Silver's harder stages. But it's a pretty consistent one, and it's very rewarding. Now let's go to Kingdom Valley. Kingdom Valley is a fun one. Charge your knife, throw your knife. We're just trying to do some combat here. And then I like to jump and throw a psychic shot at that tower. Activate ESP. And if you want to play it a little risky, you don't actually have to slow down there at all. Grab those spike balls to kill the guy, and then just hover over here. Hover on over again. And stop your hover a little short here. The reason why we're stopping short is because we want to get max speed, or as close as we can, before we start going uphill. If you try to run up a slope without already having a lot of speed, it's miserable. So, stop it a bit short, get your max speed, pick up all of these, and then slowly throw them. Throw a knife, and you're good. Now I'm going to show you something that's going to look a little scary, but this is actually pretty easy. Charge a knife, throw it, and then just teleport dash. Go around this corner, and you're good. That looks intimidating. It's very, very easy if you throw a knife to kill those guys. I promise. From here, just do your nice little dash. And once you get this last ring, you can turn around and ideally teleport dash. If you don't get it, you probably have enough meter to just glide to the end anyways. A good section transition with those strats is like around 1 minute flat. 1 minute plus or minus 2 seconds. For this part, ordinarily you would have to do some combat. In the current patch we don't, just enemy bounce and you can get up here. Get nearly full, and then fly around here, and you'll swap to Sonic. Now, you do want to have some gems. Ideally, you have the blue gem, found in Aquatic Base, the purple gem, found in Radical Train, and the sky gem, found in White Acropolis. Having the white gem can also be nice, I won't lie, but it's not going to be needed for these strats. In fact, for what we're doing here, you really only need blue and purple. Anyways, once you swap to Sonic, spin dash, light dash, and just let him run downhill. Characters running downhill got a huge movement buff in this patch. Swap to purple, kill these 3 guys, and then do your double homing attack. If you are very new to the game, Sonic can get a second homing attack by pressing the X button in midair to initiate the bounce bracelet, the bound attack, and then he can just cancel that with the A button. So the inputs there would be A, X, A. If you want to play it safe, just purple gem, land, purple gem, land. There are some runners who will be mad at me for not showing you like the absolute fastest way, but using purple gem there is very consistent. And you can just throw Sonic into the void there. Throw your knife. Get your meter. Sometimes you'll get a 4th point there, sometimes you won't. Doesn't matter too much. Now for this, line Silver up like this. See how he's kind of to the left of the pillar? That's good. Fire 3 shots. You fire the 3rd one just for safety. Release your knife as you jump up. That'll give you enough meter to go forward here, teleport dash, and you're good. Now, at the moment, we can just press the X button to drop off the eagle early. Get kind of in the corner of this symbol on the ground. Activate ESP, and they all die. A good Kingdom Valley in a full game run is around anything below 2 minutes 20 seconds, I'd say. If you're going really fast, you might start getting like 212s, 215s, maybe even faster than that. I think the current individual level world record for this stage is 208 or 209. But fast time, anything below 220, I'd say. Kingdom Valley is an easy stage to lose time on. When you're starting out, shoot for sub 240s, maybe even sub 250s. But you should be able to pick it up. The sections are pretty short, they're pretty straightforward. You got this, you got this. Flamecore's hard. This is going to take a while. Buckle in, because we are almost at the end. Now, Flamecore is actually kind of my favorite stage in the game. But I'll try not to go too overboard on the explanation. I'll try to keep it easy to follow. After you hit that jump panel, spam the A button, and as soon as that double jump comes out, just fire claw. Do it twice. Now usually you would immediately go for a triple jump here. It is possible that a flaming meteorite, which we call Cocoa Puffs, falls down on you. If you have used your double jump, well, not your double jump, but your refreshed double jump from jumping out of your Y button input, you are screwed. It is very unlikely that you get hit, but if you want to play it safe, just wait and react to the Cocoa Puffs. Anyways. Homing attack into the dash panel, and then spam the B button to go fast. Wait until you have pretty much full meter here, and then make it over. You don't need full meter here, but it's handy to have a little bit. Jump, then curve to the right, hit the spring. And fix the camera with the left trigger. This is the first combat room. This is the hardest combat in the game. If you try this blindly, you are going to suffer, you are going to have a bad time, and you are going to think, wow, Flamecore is an insanely difficult stage. Why did I ever try running this game? I promise, it's not that bad. You can learn Flamecore. I'm going to give you a kind of complicated sequence, but it is a very consistent one. Do you see that little worm on the left? The little lizard guy. He's almost off screen. You see him? Good. Do you see this explosive box right in front of me? I'm going to take that box and I'm going to throw it at the lizard man. Got it. Threw it. You see how this guy is jumping? I immediately jumped and I used a stun slap. Not a stun slap, a Psycho Shock. I pressed the X button to get my AoE. This is going to stun him. I'm going to grab him. And I'm going to wait until my reticle goes to the bird on the left. There he is. Kill him. Teleport dash. Shock. Ordinarily, you can stun both of them. I didn't quite get it, but that's okay. If you only stun one, good. Pick him up and use it to kill the other. Now charge a knife. Throw the knife, and when you throw it, start holding the B button again. This will immediately start charging another knife. Jump and release. Pick it up. Throw. Bird's dead. Now that might seem like a lot. So let me show you that one more time in sequence. We're early enough into the stage, it won't take too long to get there. Again, that combat is kind of complex, but if you learn that route, it is very, very consistent, I promise. It is very consistent, it's pretty easy, and it is very, very fun. I would highly recommend. But give it some time. Sit with it. I'll still call things out as I go through them. Don't worry, don't worry. Center camera, pick it up, throw it. Didn't get that in time, that's okay. Throw it at the bird, fly over, stun them, grab them. Knife, hold B, jump, throw. It's okay that I messed this up because I can just grab him and drop him. There you go. You can even improvise the combat a bit. It's fine. A fast time to clear this combat is around 40 seconds. I'd say 40 seconds plus or minus 2. There are some strats you can do at the beginning that I didn't show to go a little bit faster, but they can usually kill your run. If you're getting, like, you can get consistent 41s with this strat. When you're starting out, I would aim for 50 seconds or less. Once you start getting 45s, that's good, you're in the ballpark. Once you start getting 41s, 42s, you've probably got it down. Wait for this door to get kind of low, and then you can just teleport dash into it. Wait for this purple orb to get about halfway through. Make sure you're running at the ledge, or sorry, the edge, the far right-hand side, so that you can jump over. And now we're going to have some weird movement. You see these two birds? I'm going to jump off the one on the right, then I'm going to jump off the one on the left, and then I'm going to go hit that spring in the far back. Here's how to do it. Angle your camera down, run to the edge, and then hold jump. There you go. I'm going to take a death here to show it again. Because that jump gives people a lot of issues. So let me just reiterate that. Run forward. When you get to the edge, jump. And there you go. Now that you have invincibility, you will kill things that you get near. Now, it is possible to kill without bouncing, and it is possible to bounce and kill. This difference is important. I'm going to pilot Silver into the bird closest to me, and then I'm going to tap the jump button. By tapping it, I kill the bird without getting a bounce. The movement here is kind of just improv it. Just don't land on the platforms because they're slow. That's the basic idea. For here, I'm going to go for an enemy bounce. Go for the bird in the back in case you miss him. Now we have our second combat room. This one is drop dead easy. Box, throw it, teleport dash, ESP. And then if you want to be a little fancy, throw a knife, pick this guy up, and you're good. You're good. That second combat room is really that simple, so I'm not spending more time on it. This is a little unfortunate. Because I died to show off the Badnik bounce again, I have less meter than I usually would. Ordinarily, you would still have ESP mode active, and you can make it all the way to that very far platform. the movement I'm going to show here is never going to be relevant, because, you know, you'll always have enough meter if you do that right. But, I didn't have enough on my activation, so we're gonna get to see some improv. I'm pretty sure I can just land right there. Yep, I can. And then jump over, fly over. It's good to be able to identify backups, but that particular one you are never going to need. A good time to clear this section is sub 150. Anything below a minute 50 is very good. If you can get, like, low 140s, that's great, but that's unlikely. Just once you've mastered the stage, you can probably get around there. Starting out, I would shoot for sub 150. Well, when you're really starting out, go for sub 2. And then once you start getting the hang, go for around 150. Then sub 150 is the end goal. Spam stun slap loading in here. I've mentioned it before, but this is a good way to show just how fast it is. Look at how far I outpace Blaze. That's pretty good. Now watch what happens if I don't use stun slap. We stay about the same. Anyways, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I can start running forward. Lift this worm up and drop him before you activate the mark. You can give a slope jump if you run into the right corner of that door. And the movement here is pretty self-explanatory, so just wait for that to come down and get a teleport dash. This is where animation canceling with a jump comes in. As soon as I activate this thing, I want to jump. Hover over, then jump off of it and take contact damage. Get a slope jump off of the item box. Slope jump off of the enemy. Get around to here. Make sure you have rings. If you don't have rings, I'll show you where an item box is. But activate this door, have rings, please. You need at least one for the next movement. You can pick up a ring box here if you need it. And as soon as you activate that, pop PSP. Once you get to around here, land, because you don't want to spend much time running uphill. Do an animation cancel, hover through here, you're good. If your movement isn't super crisp, there's a good chance that the flame wave will already pass you by before you can get, like, the animation cancel. Don't worry about it, that's fine. The basic idea is that you just end up on this platform, because from here, you can get full meter and go right here. Spam the A button to fall early. Take it down. And you're good to go. I like to land to the left side here, because that lets me keep moving forward while regaining meter. There's a little lip here, mind that. And there you go. I'll show section 2 in sequence real quick. We had a kind of bad section 1. You know, let me just show the whole stage off. So here's what the stage looks like, beginning to end, if you're going kind of fast. If you want, you can move on to Blaze Wave Ocean, but I think it's useful to see things in sequence. No Cocoa Puff's gonna get me, so I'm good to go. Swap to silver around 12 seconds. That's pretty good. Not quite enough meter, but that doesn't really matter. Got the bounce. Fix camera. $38. You can get a slope jump there. It's kind of risky. I wouldn't go for it unless you're really feeling yourself. You can stop moving to play it a little safe there. Like, just release forward on the control stick for a second. Decent amount of meter. Avoid landing on the platforms. Just avoid anything that would cause you to stop regaining meter. Keep a little bit here so that you can grab something. And now, since I'm activating this with full meter, I will be perfectly alright for this next section. Teleport dash on through. Wait until you get full meter. That is quite important. Let's stop it now. I should be able to just carry it on over. And that should be good. A little bit short. It's whatever. 143 isn't too bad. Not too bad at all. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's enough meter to grab something, which is all I need. Animation canceling with stun slap on these marks is very important here. Well, it's only really important for a couple of doors, mainly the first one and the one that you have to jump off of, but it's a great place to practice it regardless, because it's just fast. Get up here, get over here. And there you go. If you want to be really risky, you can go for that. I don't recommend it, because it's very likely to just kill you, and the time save is absolutely negligible. But, you know, if you really want to be fast, it's an option. Make sure you take that hit while you're in the air. You can also do this without going up on that other platform. It's just a lot scarier. So, I don't recommend it for full game. You can do it if you're running individual level, though. It is a bit faster. Run forward, that's full. That'll let me get about full by the time I need to jump again. And 302. Very good time. Very, very good time. If you hit a 302 in a run, that's great. That's amazing. And that's Flame Core. Probably the hardest stage to learn for Silver, but once you get it down, it's not the hardest in the run, I wouldn't say. It's a very fun one. Okay, on to our final challenger, Blaze, Wave, Ocean. Or Wave, Ocean, Blaze. This stage is pretty easy. It's pretty fun. It's a nice victory lap. There are still things that can go wrong, so it's worth talking about, but this stage is pretty straightforward. As long as you can triple jump, you'll be fine. Jump over here, jump over here. And by jump, I mean use Fire Claw. We're gonna go for a triple jump right up here. And then Fire Claw past. Angle Blaze a little to the right when you Fire Claw onto that. Ideally, that'll let you keep some speed. Fire Claw into that dash panel. And then use the crow attack to keep your speed for a bit longer. Ideally, you do not actually hit that enemy, but, you know, it is what it is. Homing attack into the spikes, and then just mash X, and you can go straight through them. A good checkpoint time here is like a 51, 52. Something around there. I'm going to show you a way you can go fast. It's kind of risky, though. If you want to play it safe, just follow the automation. But if you want to live on the edge and save some time, as soon as you land, press the X button. And jump. And aim for that first platform, because all these others are breakable, except for this last one. Anyways, once you're over here, just go to the right. Go through this spring. And then we're just going to jump for shore. There is, weirdly, a slope jump you can get here that lets you bounce off the enemy and just get into the goal ring. And that's Silver Story. That's all there is to it. I hope this guide was of some use. Now, it is kind of early days for the category yet. Strats are still changing, but these strategies have taken me to an 18-minute time, which is currently the fastest on the boards by a pretty good margin. So, they're not going to get worse in the future. Unless a ton of stuff is just patched out for whatever reason, but that seems unlikely. So yeah, good baseline, and I hope this was of use.